Hey y'all, it's Leah. I am here to announce our next swap. And so these are faux postage stamps, and they're kind of larger than normal. So they can be used either as tags, you could punch a hole in them. They can just be like on top of a cluster. You can use like bigger ones as journaling space, or however you can make it a tuck. It could be a belly band, just depending on how you use it. It could be a pocket. So lots of uses for them. So you're going to need a few supplies to do these. You'll need some sort of picture. It can be floral. It can, oops, put that the right way. It could be floral. It could be a building. It could, think about what stamps would have on them. It could be a person's, like a portrait. It could be butterflies or birds, flower, anything. So just kind of, think stamp wise. You'll need some sort of black and cardstock paper or packaging, as you can see when I flip this one over. If you don't have cardstock paper or craft paper or a black paper, I just use the back. This is a Tim Holtz page, and so, or a back from packaging, and so that is my background. And then my black piece was this piece that was a backing for either stickers or rub-ons or something from Dollar Tree, so it gave me that black background that I wanted. The rest of these are done with cardstock and craft paper, so however you want to do that, that works. You'll need some ink. You'll need some stamps. I love to collect, different kind of like postage, numbers, all of those things. So you'll want some of those, some glue, your favorite glue, and that's about it. So, oh, and you'll need some pinking shears, or it doesn't have to be. If you don't have pinking shears, that is fine too. You can just cut them normally. Or if you have some kind of like border punch or something, or if you have a die cut machine, you might use that. If you've got a tear ruler that has the jagged edge, kind of that postcard edge, whatever you have, or again, just do it as a straight edge. We have lots of stamps that are just straight edges. So whatever you use is fine. My pictures, I found this really cool book from Amazon that's Vintage Botanicals, and so it's just got pages of printed papers. I like this one because they don't print on the back. They just do a plain background, so that way you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to choose between pictures. And so they have them grouped by color, so they're really pretty botanicals, and so I just pulled a page from there. Okay, all right, so let me get these out of the way, and we're gonna make one together. So I start with my paper. I just trimmed it all the way so you're not seeing any of the white space. I hate measuring, it's a pain, and so I tend to not measure if I don't have to. So I am going to grab, I'm gonna ink first. Grab a little vintage photo, my favorite, and just ink that up a little bit, just to give it a little aged look. I really like the look of inking things. So that is done. So now I'm gonna grab my glue, a little glue paper, and I like glue stick for this is fine. That works fine. I like the Yoo-hoo sticks. I like that they're bigger. And so for this, I want just kind of like an 1/8 to even like a 1/16 of an inch border. I just want that real thin black line around it. And so I just put it up against the corner. If you don't have one of these, Dollar Tree, they're really cool. They're great. Credit cards work well too, old cards. But it's just a great kind of thing to spread things out, make sure everything is done. So notice I just lined up that corner of where I wanted my border to be. And now I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and I'm going to trim down the other two sides to match. So again, I'm just eyeballing. My motto is that it is handmade. It is not perfect. It did not come out of a factory. So it does not have to be exact. And I kind of like that. That's part of my deal for making things. So now we've got that matted on black. And so now I am going to just fold this half to get some more space. So now I'm going to glue this one to the craft paper. And for this one, I'm going to leave a little bit of a bigger edge because that's the one I am going to cut with the pinking shears. And you don't have to be exact on this one. You just want to make sure that you have enough border on all sides, enough room on all sides to be able to cut with your pinking shears. Get that nice and glued down. Again, no measuring, just cutting, just being pretty quick about it. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my pinking shears and I am just cutting, give it about a 1/4 inch border. When you're using pinking shears, quick tip, most people I think know this, but as you move your scissors, be sure to get in the grooves from your previous cut, so that way you don't end up with wonky edges. So it just kind of helps them match up and helps you kind of keep the same distance. Do that. Almost done. One more side. So this part is pretty quick. If you've made cards, this is very similar to what we do a lot in card making, where you're just kind of layering things, making borders. I'm noticing that I'm a little off, so I am, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to look nice. So I'm just going to trim that one a little bit more. Okay, so that is good. Get all my little pieces out of there. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink this part up a little bit. Some more. Just to finish off those edges. Okay, and now we're going to be ready for stamping. So you want to think about, what kind of marks do you see when you get something in the mail? What has the post office, you know, put on it? So you're kind of thinking along those lines. So you're usually going to have some kind of postmark from whatever place it went through. I'm going to use a combination of black and brown ink. Put this way. I love these inks. People often ask me when I send out, a lot of y'all have gotten my muslin, my stamped muslin. This is the ink that I use pretty much for all of my stamping. If I'm doing like clear, crisp images, if I'm just doing something that I want to look super aged and rustic, then I'll use like the oxides or the distress inks. But I really like these. It gives a super fine and crisp image. And so they're just my go-to. And so you can get them on Amazon. You can get them from different places. Joann's and Michael's usually have them. Hobby Lobby has a couple of them. Not all the colors. I think there's 20 colors, 24 colors maybe. So not a ton of range, but it's enough to get you going. So I'm going to start with I want this to be in the background. So I'm just going to stamp, and I'm not doing it perfectly. because again, you know, when they're stamping at the post office, they are not perfect. there, just sort of on there. So I got a little Spain mark. And then now I'm gonna do, since it's from Spain, that would have been airmail. So we'll do a little airmail stamp there. And then I'm gonna add one more, just a little number. And we'll do this one, let's see, maybe up here. And you can kind of go off to the side, because again, when they stamp things at the post office, they're going super fast and just kind of putting it everywhere. So that's it. That's the whole thing. So pretty quick. You're just making your layers, and then you're adding some stamps, and you are done. So for this swap, we're gonna do 3 of these. They just need to be 2 by 3 minimum. So you can make them, you know, you can go down 2 by 3, which is about roughly this size. These are 2-ish by 3-ish. Again, you know, we don't want them to be miniature, but you know, this size would be fine. You can make bigger ones, whatever you want to do. You're just going to make at least 3 of those to send to your partner. So I hope that you join us for the swap. If you don't do the swap, just make some of these, because they are super fun to add to your books. If you have any Edith Holden pages, these are things that are in that style. Those would make really pretty images to use for the backgrounds. So have fun. Please post what you make. I can't wait to see what you do. All right. Bye, y'all.